Okay, I'm continuing on with my little series and my beliefs of what really took place on this world, and I believe that, because Jesus told his disciples he would return soon before some of them died, and he returned in secret, like it was, and islands would, islands would be moved out of their places, you know, things would really be changed, and he told them when they asked, when would he return? He said, I'll return before some of you die here. And so 40 years later, somebody was still alive writing books. And all of a sudden, that temple, I think he came back. He found Satan in that temple. Because Satan had like 40 years after he left to build pyramids and massive things, with powers close to God. And if he did that, all of a sudden, if Jesus did return, found Satan in that temple, wiped out the temple, he said not one stone would be standing up on another or something like that. Now, if he came back and he did that, and he locked up the devil for 1,000 years, then the population quite likely was down. There'd be peace on the earth for 1,000 years, like he said, and then release the devil, and all of a sudden it seems like there was population started to increase, appears, and and it was increasing, but then there was lockdowns, there was like pandemics, there was black plagues, and there was a place called Port Arthur where it was a lockdown for adult lockdown colonies, where they apparently took the adults away from the children, raised them. In the Dark Ages, they had book burnings, where they're getting rid of information. And how is this that a rumor of Atlantis sinking, a rumor got through of Atlantis sinking, and now they're finding cities under oceans of almost all the continents on this world, and the artifacts, when they're raised, and appear to be somewhat around the time of when Jesus walked the earth. Same with when they're excavating the underground, the cities that they're digging up under the ground. The artifacts are coming back apparently to around when Jesus was on this earth. So I think that is what happened. Our history was erased somehow, and and when you look at the Bible, you got your Bible there. Grab your Bible and look at Genesis. Look at the beginning. The beginning, how God explains it is, it's like he called the firmament the heaven. He called it the heavens. There was heavens, and the solid, it was like a solid dome holding up water. That's what the Bible says. And now man comes along, and says, oh no, nothing solid up there. We can just jump on a rocket and go up there. But God says no one enters it other than someone who has come from it, And I was explaining it, sort of like, they tell us that this is the ball, and the ball is spinning around all the time, and the sun's out here, and we're getting sunlight, daylight, and the moon's floating around out here, and satellites are floating around out here, geosynchronous satellites going with the speed of the earth, and then they go behind the earth, so they're in the shade of the earth, where no sun to run the solar power. I don't know. And they've been launching 1,000 balloons a day. 1,000 balloons a day? Apparently, that's what I hear. They're launching 1,000 balloons a day, and they got massive amounts of equipment on them. Now, personally, the way I see it is here, I got a couple of bowls here, just for demonstration. Now, if you have an aquarium, if you take this one bowl and you put it in water, it will hold air in that water. And if you move it down and you got stones and stuff underneath it, when it goes against the surface, the high points in there will stick up above the surface of that. Now, if this thing is, as God says, it was in the waters and it was covered with water, and if he did make another heaven, say like, okay, when this thing ascended, I mean, when you drop something, push something down into the water, you get dust and dirt. I didn't have a round bowl, so I'm using these ones. Okay, you'd get dust and dirt and debris sitting on top of this thing and clinging to it somehow. And then, okay, now that's holding up water. Now, if you take a second bowl, and the second bowl goes directly over it, also holding air inside it, and if this had a pivot point right in the center between there, you would have a stabilized thing with air inside it, air underneath it, or, you know, there could be liquid, part liquid in here, but if that's suspended, that could actually turn, with just motions of water. You know, that could turn, that could keep turning if there was currents under there. I don't know. That's all I'm saying is this is how God's kind of explains it. You know, something above. And if you look through my series, there's fictional stories up there about all these balloons, you know, like sitting, like if they're putting up 1,000 balloons a day inside a chamber. Now, if you have a round dome, there's lots of, it could hold up water, you know. But if you have something that's concave like that and you're putting all kinds of pressure up underneath it, you're going to cause lift inside there. You could cause it to break. You know, you could cause it to break. So if they're putting up 1,000 balloons a day for years now, 1,000 big balloons a day with helium or hydrogen, whatever they're putting in them, could break that. So it says the firmament will like roll back like a scroll or something like that. That's what it says in the book. And stars will fall. You know, like I say, if there's particles on here that are stars. And also, if you shine light, say these are round bowls, okay? These are round bowls. If you shine light, like God says, he lit up the thing. He lit it up. And if you shine light through there, these were round bowls, and you shine light through it, like it could act like a magnifying glass. And as the light comes through, it could make a spot on that inner, you know, so it looks like it's the sun, you know. And I don't know. All I'm saying is what the Bible says and what man says are two different things. But people believe, man, you can jump on a rocket and you can go out there, and we have geosynchronous satellites floating around the earth. I'm going to put these bowls down. You know, like they're saying we have geosynchronous satellites. Okay, this earth is supposed to be spinning this like this direction, and the sun's supposed to be out here, and it's supposed to go up and down. But if you have a so-called satellite that's geosynchronous to the earth, as the earth is spinning around, that thing is going to go behind the earth, away from the sun. There's no light behind there. And they're saying, well, the earth is so far away, the satellites are out, and the sun is so big. But you look at the sun, and it does not look that big. And it's dark on that side of the earth, and to get a solar panel to work decently, you need direct sunlight. So if you have direct sunlight, yes, you know, it still take a lot of panels to charge to keep they say that those satellites take about the power of 2 microwave ovens. That's almost like 2 circuits. You need a fair array of panels to do that. And I don't know how they get them all up there and get them all hooked up, and then in the dark, this thing's going to go around. It's going to be in the shade over there. There's no light, so you're going to have to have big batteries charging on top of this, you know. And you know, the only time we see anything that's called a satellite that falls out of the sky, it's a balloon with equipment on it, you know, like. And as for asteroids and stuff like that, I don't know. Possibly because it talks about that it's like a molten looking glass, hot somehow. And if you type in thermosphere, now man calls it the thermosphere, and the thermosphere can go to like what 3,600 degrees Fahrenheit or higher, something like that. Now that's about all it would maybe not melt. That kind of temperature would be maybe diamonds, or I don't even know if carbon would take some of the temperatures they're saying. But apparently it goes up. If you look up thermosphere temperature, oh, maybe I should just look it up here right now for you while we're at it. Okay, I'm going to look up. Oh God, here we go. What have I got up here? What am I doing? Oh, it's AI. Let me see here. Kingdom, Forgotten Kingdom. That's another part of something. Let's see. Mailbox. I'm gonna just grab another window here. Okay, I'm gonna go to Google. Oh, that's Google Accounts. I don't know. Bear with me. Bear with me. You gotta question everything. Question everything. No, it looks like we're on a YouTube thing or something. YouTube. Ah, God. Home. Let's try home. Computers. We're just gonna go Firefox, Google. Okay, thermosphere temperatures. Let's see, how do you spell that? Come on, what's going on here? Oh, let me search. What's going on here? Thermosphere. Thermosphere temperatures. I think I might have spelled that right. The thermosphere. A layer of Earth's atmosphere existing from roughly 53 miles to 53 miles, 83 kilometers, up to 375 miles. That's what they're telling us. These temperatures can range from as low as 148 Fahrenheit, that's 128 Celsius at the bottom, to as high as 360 Fahrenheit to 2,000 centigrade, 3,600 Fahrenheit, which is 2,000 degrees centigrade, near the top. This extreme heat is due to the absorption of high energy ultraviolet X-ray radiation, by the sun. The thin glasses in the layer, whatever. Okay, that's what they're saying. Like, well, 3,600 Fahrenheit. Oh, come on! I killed the computer. No, come on, let's fire up again. 3,600 Fahrenheit. That's high temperatures, very high temperatures. Now, I don't think there's a aluminum tin can that they can. Computer die. I don't think there's a aluminum, a rocket of any kind that could actually go into that and not melt instantly. But what they tell you is, oh, well, there's no atmosphere up there, so it wouldn't actually feel hot. It would feel cold. Well, excuse me, if something feels cold, you're measuring it as cold. If something is hot, you're measuring it as hot. There has to be a way of measuring it. What happened to this computer here? Oh, I'm going to have to shoot it right down and fire it back up here or something. There, shut her down. Fire it back up. Anyway, that's kind of what I'm kind of getting at here. Lots of things they tell us don't make sense. Lots does not make sense. So I'm going to continue on with our little series. What the heck's going on here? Start Windows normally. Let's try that. Hit the lid down. She stops. What kind of thing is that? Huh? They all do weird things. But anyhow, I still advocate. We can't do nothing about this. If we've been lied to about the shape of the Earth, and we've been lied to about our history, and personally, like I said, I believe that Jesus already did return. He did his return. And he gave the 1,000 years of peace. And now he's about to return. I believe that the firmament is going to roll back. I think the pressure from these balloons that they're launching, and they're sitting, apparently, it feels, I believe they're sitting up against something solid. And if that's the case, I think that those things could disrupt that dome. And if it broke that, there'd be stuff falling off of it, and and I went into about the, I believe very strongly in the Bible, and I believe that there's a city waiting for us, that God has went, like he said, I go to prepare a place for you. In my Father's house there's many mansions, he said. And if in fact this earth is, all life is going to be taken away from this earth, which I believe it's going to be all life taken away from this earth. I don't care if it's bugs, I don't care if it's animals, snakes, bad people, good people. I believe everybody is going to go up. Even the ones that are dead in the graves, like their bodies, I believe everything's going to be resurrected. Even the insects, the bugs, the animals, I believe they're all going to have life again. Because even the tiniest bug runs from you. It doesn't want to die. I mean, mosquito's going to come and try to bite you, but you try to kill it, it's running for its life again. Everything is. Spiders, But not all things have the same nature. Not all things will attack you. You'll get some animals some dogs that are just vicious, that will bite and do bad things, and those ones, I think, those dogs, the ones that will bite people, that are I believe they'll be separated. They'll be in a separate place, and the people that are bad people will also be in a separate place. Just like you can get different animals, same kind of animal, different nature, totally different nature. Even in, like I said in one of my videos, insects or archelids. Like I used to have some pet tarantulas. Like used to get Mexican redleg spiders, and there are some that will bite. Well, will bite you, and there's some that you couldn't get them to bite you if you tried. They all have sort of the same nature, but some won't hurt you. And I believe in this new kingdom there will be only things that won't hurt you. Any insect that you touch won't bite you. Any snake that you touch won't bite you. If it's a snake, well, maybe snakes won't be there, because God condemned snakes. He condemned them. You go on your belly, eat dust, dirt for the rest of your life. But I don't know. I think that is what's going to happen. And the ones that know Jesus, that work for him, have been born again, baptized again, and joined him actually, I think those ones will raise first. Those ones will not have to go through the judgment. But the ones that have not, and the bad people, will be judged. And I think outside that city, this new city, which is supposed to be like 1,400 miles square, I believe that the bad people, the bad animals, the bad insects, anything that would be have a nature to attack people, or hurt people, or bite people, I believe everything of that will be divided out. Whether it's in whatever insect line or animal line, like some horses are vicious. Some horses, most of them now, they're nice. But I think it's all going to be divided. And it talks about horses. We will see him come riding the horses. It talks about outside the city will be bad people and dogs and stuff like that. So animals, I believe, will make it. We'll make it there. I believe our pets will make it there. And it's supposed to be a paradise. But can you really imagine 1,400 miles square? You know how big 1,400 miles square is, with no oceans? I mean, rivers and stuff in it, but no oceans. and 1,400 miles on each area, and 12 foundations on top of each other that go up 1,400 miles. So each layer would be over 100 miles between layers. An atmosphere, and it said there will be no sun. It'll be lit by God Himself, and and there'll be no tears of sorrow. It'll be just paradise. And if you wanted to be in tropical places, you'd be able to be there. If you wanted to be in snow-covered Alps or wilderness or country or anything you wanted would be you would have it. Would be your desire. You wouldn't be. You'd have whatever you want, and there'd be no cost on anything. You know, if you did want it to work, you just work, but you wouldn't get paid. But you can go out and get anything you wanted to. I mean, if your desire is to serve and you like cooking, well, you cook and you just for people, and they don't pay you, but you go to the store. You need something, you just go and get it. Your car breaks, somebody just fixes it, or you go get another one. No charge, nothing. And if everybody did that, it would be a good world. You talk about there's certain groups certain groups of people around. I won't mention any direct names, but they do the same thing. They live by themselves. They isolate themselves from the community, and they deal with their own issues within their congregation or their colonies, and it still can't be heaven. Can't be heaven. There's no heaven on this earth. But it said that in the beginning, when God created Adam, and then He created Eve from a rib of Adam, apparently put him into sleep, and he cloned, I guess, from the female, cloned, and they were to go forward and multiply. There was no sin, but the devil was in the garden too. The devil was on this earth. The devil's been cast out of heaven. The devil he conned people into doing things. So if he conned them into sinning, and God only had one rule. One rule was, you do not eat of this certain plant, and you don't touch it, or else you will die. And that was the only rule that they had to follow. And the devil conned Eve into saying, no, you'll just know the truth. You'll know the truth, and you'll be like God. He conned them in, think, God's just mean. He just doesn't want you to know the truth. So that's how things go. And from that point on, I believe they were cast out of the garden. And I believe this whole world, when it was under this under a dome, if the Garden of Eden was directly in the center, they would cast it out. They cast out of the Eden. And as far as I know, planes fly from all over, and they cross over to the north. None of them cross underneath it. You would think on a globe, okay, here's your globe. Okay, now if you wanted to go from, say, Australia to North America, it would be, or South America, it would be faster to go right across here, or go underneath and up and around. But they say no, everything's got to go like this, and they pass close to the north, but none of them go directly over the north, apparently. I talked to a fighter pilot, and he says, no, military's about the only one that can fly pretty close directly across the north. And what he said, when I was up there was something wrong with the sun. He said, I don't know what it was, but he says, I'll try to figure it out. So, a lot of people are trying to figure this world out. A lot of people are trying to get to the bottom of things. Study to show yourself approved. Test all things. That's what it says. Test all things and keep what is good. So, that's what we have to do. Anyway, I'm going to move on with a series of little stories talking more about this. But I figured I'd just try to bring this all together a little bit in a way that maybe we can try to understand it. But if you know, if we're believing man, or we're believing this book depicts it totally different. The creation. I even asked AI. I said to AI, I says, if you only had read this book and you had no other scientific knowledge of anything about how the earth was or whatever, I says, what would you get from this? And it said, oh yeah, it would be flat with a dome over it and water above. No, well, you know, that's honest answer. So I'm not going to say that this is a flat world. All I'm saying is I say study to show yourself approved, and just do the right thing in your day. And I always advocate, you know, just do the best things you can for to make your life and other people's lives better somehow in some way, and keep track of your day. You know, a notebook, write the date on it, and write what you did in your day. It's just a diary, and think about your plans for tomorrow, and then you can look back and say, I didn't do this, I didn't do this. You know, what more could I do to do something a little bit better? I mean, life is short. This life is short. You know, we think it's so long. You know, and you talk to people these young people, and they're 20, 25 years old, 23, 24, 25 years old. And you say, yo, I'm young, I just want to do things. And if you do things, I mean, 25 years old, you're a quarter away to 100. Nobody will make it. So anyway, I'm going to cut you loose there right now, and have a good day.